Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Detroit. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Jacob Van Lunen, and we're ready for our first semifinal match between these two titans of Team Limited here. They were undefeated on day one, both teams, and now they've met in the finals. Owen Turtenwald, William Jensen, and Reid facing off against Ben Stark, Luis Scott-Vargas, and Eric Froehlich, two of the most stacked teams in the field. These are just, if you look through the teams on day one, before even a match was played, these are the teams you'd pick to win the GP.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, you would be wrong in one case. We don't know what that is yet. We're going to find out this round between these two players, where we have Luis Scott-Vargas. Remember, this is team draft that we're playing here. Majoring Bully hits the red zone as Huey Jensen, a slow start here. Hasn't played anything until Reid the Bones on 3, and this one could be over quickly if he doesn't stabilize this board. Another Reid the Bones off the top for Huey.
Yeah, not exactly what he's looking for, but I do think I saw a return centaur in his hand, which is precisely what he wants to be doing against this board of 2-2s on the other side of the table. Let's see if he decides to go with that return centaur, or if he'd rather just use Way to the Underworld to get something off the table.
It is a tough choice. All right, well, he mills away. Actually, he ran pretty good there. Zendikar Incarnate that he presumably can't cast right now. He's splashing for that. A Way to the Underworld and an Alchemist File.
Wow.
This is not good news for Huey Jensen, though. Luis Scott-Vargas has an enthralling victor. Those were just wheeling around the table in the draft, and it steals the blocker, which also gets to get in for 2 damage, but gets the Crone Sergeant active on Renown, and Majoring Bully in there for a couple of damage. So before he can blink, Huey finds himself at half of his starting life total. He's past the turn back.
Representing Unholy Hunger here.
Correct. Cruel Revival is also an option, but
it's the slightly more uncommon.
Subterranean Scout. So the tricks keep coming here for Scott-Vargas as he chips away with the Majoring Bully. That's the only creature that's attacking, and Huey says, yeah, sure, I'll go to 8. He's going to use an Unholy Hunger at some point here. The question is, what does he want to use it on, as Luis continues his curve out on the beatdown tip. This has been nasty.
Yeah, I mean, he's tapped all of his mana from turn 2
3
on.
Sergeant, yeah. Turn 4, he played the Enthralling Victor, and turn 5, he's played a 3-drop and a 2-drop. This is basically the dream if you're a beatdown deck, and Luis is living it. So he's going to take out the Acrolan Sergeant on end step is Huey. Even though he milled himself for 4, he never found Spell Mastery, so he's just going to kill it and not get any extra value out of it. Macabre Waltz, I see, is the card on top of the hand there for Jensen, who now really has to kind of map out how these turns are going to go. He does have a relatively stable board state, but he's going to get attacked for, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, putting him to 1 next turn if he blocks the Enthralling Victor.
Yeah, I mean, he's down to 1 with what's on the board right now, and I mean, Luis still has cards in hand and has another card on the top of his library, so this could end very quickly. This might end on the very next turn.
It could. Yeah, it depends on what Luis's last card or 2 is in hand. Now, one thing that we did see Jensen draft was Eyeblight Massacre.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm assuming he doesn't have it in his hand here, because I think that one would have already been in the graveyard if he did, as it would completely wipe the board.
Yeah, this would be a slow roll for the ages.
Yeah, it would be. But so assuming he doesn't have that, he's going to have to come up with some other way to stabilize here. He might be playing Reid the Bones.
I don't know.
This is risky biz. He's doing it, though.
Yeah.
He finds land. Going to put those on the bottom. Peel a couple of fresh cards here. He needs to play another creature realistically as well.
Yeah, any creature will do, as long as Luis doesn't have Inactive Treason, a removal spell,
another
a burn spell,
Victor, a combat
Enthralling Victor, creature with haste,
some equipment.
Yeah.
Let's see what Luis has in store. Deadbridge Shaman was the play. So right now, Jensen at 6 is precariously alive. but just barely. And this is going to happen. 2, 4, 5. This is going to drop Jensen to 1 life. And it's a prickle bore to add to the board. Now that cannot get Eye Blight massacred. So even if Jensen finds it, he would be in chump block mode with his centaur.
And there it is.
He did find it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's super duper duper important here.
Yeah, because this, you know, I was saying it as if it were a bad thing because the prickle bore dodges it. But this is, this actually gives him a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be able to block the prickle bore once, and then he needs to find a removal spell or a way to get rid of it. But if he does, he's in business.
He's home free. This is super interesting.
Unfortunately, at 1 life, you know, the play he wants to make is he wants to Weight of the Underworld, the prickle bore, you know, absorb a little bit of damage, you know, maybe block something, and then Eye Blight Massacre because it would wipe the board, but he does not have that luxury here.
Yeah, he doesn't have the time to make a play like that.
No.
He's at 1. He has a lot of cards in his hand, though. Right, so it looks like Eric Froehlich has already taken the first game off of Reid Duke.
Yeah, you know, Kenji was
Table
over in the
close to
feature
us.
match area kind of keeping an eye on that. So Duke was on the play, right, because his team's a higher seed. He had 3 lands when he started. 9 turns later, still 3 lands. That
Oof.
did not work out well for
That's
him.
rough.
All right, so there's that Eye Blight Massacre that we were just talking about, and an Orchard Spirit. So Huey does have a backup plan as far as chump blocks go. Oh, cancel that order. Cancel that
Prickly
order.
bore.
So Seismic Elemental was what Luis Scott-Vargas played. That has what we call a falter effect attached to it. It says that creatures without flying can't block this turn, meaning that the 2 blockers that Huey had assembled were rendered meaningless.
The ground was shaking. They couldn't find their footing, and
that was all she wrote. So let's jump up to Ben Stark and Owen Turtenwald. They're still in game 1. We watched Ben draft this deck. He came out with a darn good blue-white deck, especially considering that it was a team draft.
oh, absolutely. I mean, when you're watching these team drafts, normally the decks look abysmal.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see like these 3-color monstrosities. People are just taking card draw spells really high just to make it work. It's
colorless cards. Yeah.
we see Ben has a pretty nice board state here when compared to that of Owen.
So one thing you'll note here, if you've had a chance to you know, look at the overhead shot or the wide shot, is that Owen, Huey, and Reid, they're all playing black. All of them. Which, you know, that doesn't make you very happy. Because
No, you don't.
you're all splitting one of the 5 colors among your 3 team members. So
You're stepping on each other's toes a bit, you know. You're
Yep.
trying to make your way through these drafts with the best decks possible while ruining the decks of your opponents. And if you instead are ruining the decks of your teammates and shipping nice playables to somebody like Ben Stark, you're not going to be in a great spot.
yeah, Ben started out in red-white, but then veered into blue and never looked back. And he was in red-blue for most of the, white-blue for most of the draft. He's got some nice ones too. He's in blue-white. He opens Harbinger of the Tides.
Ooh, that's a very nice one.
Yeah, he also opens Gideon.
Saw that.
That was pack 3, so not the worst.
Pointing at that Oromancer. Taking a read on Gideon. Yeah, that is pretty good once you get to flip it over. Untapping something, giving it indestructible, quite nice. Major issue here is that Owen already has that Sentinel in play. So even if the Gideon is able to flip this turn, then it can just get sniped in the air, which is kind of rough. Ben's going to need a flyer to give indestructibility before he can really do something that he wants to with that Gideon.
That's a tough spot for him because facing down the Return Centaur and the 4/4 flyer, he doesn't really have great attacks here with his other creatures either.
Yeah.
He would have to lose them. Oh, this is kind of sweet. I don't think I've ever seen this. Knightly Valor on Kithian. He's going to attack with it with the 3 mana to give Kithian indestructible up, and this could be a major issue here for Turtenwald.
Yeah, I mean, I love this play from Ben.
4/3 vigilance. I'm going to just say indestructible. Well, here's sort of the animist.
Ooh.
That's a 3/5, which means it can block Kithian now. So back we go again. Can he get rid of that thing? No, but he's made a Tower Geist.
Might help him get rid of that thing.
It's a start. Hydrolash goes in the yard. And an unknown card goes in his hand.
Yeah, sometimes you got to play cards like Hydrolash when you're playing Team Draft. You can pick up a card, you know?
You could do worse, right? It
Yeah,
normally
absolutely.
doesn't make the cut because it just doesn't do enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find that
worse
situation.
as a filler card.
Absolutely, and I feel like this is also, you know, people are swinging back and forth a lot in these games. Hydrolash can break serve a little bit. Again, not a card you necessarily want in your main deck, but when you're looking for a 23rd that'll do, that might make the cut.
Yeah, your worst case scenario, of course, with that card is not that bad either. You can just cast it.
Yeah.
And draw a card. Right?
Which is, you can just cycle it.
Yeah, if you're ahead and you just need to get it out of your hand, no problem. Uh-oh. We have an act of aggression here from Ben Stark. He's turning things sideways. Team is in there outside of the Geist, so block, block. And Ben says, well, I'm going to get my guy indestructible. And you're going to take 6?
Yeah, that'll put Owen down to 4 here.
And since he attacked with 3, he somewhat awkwardly has to flip over Gideon, transform him into the Planeswalker. I wonder if he'd rather just have the 4/3 vigilance with possible indestructible than that, but here we are. And he says, this thing must attack Gideon next turn.
And I like that play a lot. By being the Return Centaur attack it, the Return Centaur, you know, has that 5 toughness that could actually block the Gideon. It's just going to force a concession from Owen there.
Wow. So sweet play there from Ben Stark, setting up a big attack with Kithian, transforming it into Gideon, and then even using the ability to set up the win the next turn. So it all kind of came together there for Stark. All right, let's jump back in on Reid Duke. He's on the left side of your screen. He's playing against Froehlich, and wow, looking at the scores here, a little lopsided there.
Yeah, it looks like the Hall of Fame team has swept the first game set here.
Indeed, that is nice for them. They just need to pick up 2 more game wins anywhere, and they'll have this thing in the bag. Trying to take down, it has to be their toughest rival here. I mean, not that it's going to get any easier moving forward or get easy moving forward, but come on, Peach Garden Oath, that's one of the best teams easy.
Yeah, and they've been playing together for a while too. And the more you play with people, the better you get at playing with them.
Especially in team.
Yes.
It's so
absolutely.
important. Is this majoring responder? No, it does that. Oh, all right. Well, Rock Smallers is a nice one.
It's pretty good.
You can see that he first main phased it because of the sigil of Valor there. Making this this Screeching Scob actually pretty huge. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a 6-powered creature.
Yeah. It's impressive.
That is.
It's the biggest Screeching Scob I've ever seen.
Yeah, me too. Broke the record. That is a angry little Screeching Scob.
The Blood Curse Knight, though, does have lifelink, so the race here...
That's based on the weight of the underworld?
Yes, exactly. And when you're having those 8-point life swings every turn, it's pretty impressive. Here, he's going to offer up the tray with Rock Smallers, but I
or he could
think
just
that says that there's a...
But Eric can also just chump block with the Owl there, right? And then just get the weight of the underworld off the table and shrink that thing back down to a 3/2 with no lifelink.
Yeah, and I think that's got to be the best play there for Eric.
Yeah, makes him have another enchantment to keep the train rolling here. Ooh, War Oracle, that's a good one too.
Lots of lifelink.
Yeah, it looks
there
like
for Reid.
racing Reid Duke is going to be difficult today.
Let's go to a race. All right, well, I gain life every time I attack too. Nice thing for Reid, his deck is a little enchantment light for the number of Blood Curse Knights and Oromancers that he has, but he does have one of those Oromancers in his hands. So he will be able to return this way to the Underworld, recast it, thus getting additional value from his Oromancer and from the Blood Curse Knight yet again.
Dwynen, Guiltleaf Dane has now entered the battlefield. Again, replacing the fallen Ringward now. And bumping the Sigil of Valor trigger up to +4/+4 again.
Here, I would be pretty surprised if we didn't see the Fetidem trade.
He's got to do it sometime, right? This is now going to clear the way for the Rock Smaulers to pick that up potentially next turn. Oh, heck, this turn.
Yeah, now it's a 7/7 trample.
Yeah.
That's threatening to become a 9/9 trample.
Well, I don't think it's renowned yet, right?
Yeah, but it's threatening to become a 9/9 trample on the following turn is what I meant.
All right. So, oh, Guiltleaf Winnower. What is that going to do? Take out a spider? No. Oh, yeah, it can only kill non-elves. Non-elf with power and toughness that aren't equal. So Dwynen is safe from her own kin here, but the Hitchclaw Recluse is not, and down it goes. But the good news for Eric Froehlich is that, he kind of had one of those to give. That could have been a lot worse. I mean, look, the Winnower's great. It was a straight-up 2-for-1 in a pretty big way, but it didn't kill either of the two best creatures that Ifro has, the Rock Smaulers or the Dwynen. So he's, I think, going to have to accept that.
And now he's got this 6/6 trample that's about to attack. I feel like if I'm in Reid Duke's seat, I'm just pretty much forced to take the damage, right?
I mean, with the War Oracle threatening to do something with any type of trickery, could definitely be the case. Guiltleaf Winnower squashing a spider there.
Yeah.
All right, here comes Rock Smaulers, gets the trigger. It's now a 6/6 with trample. Looking to connect just one time.
Become a nice 8/8 with trample.
Get that renown going.
It looks like Sam Party is up a game, and Matt Costa is also up a game here. The back table.
You can also see on our graphic there that Huey Jensen has equalized against Luis Scott-Vargas. So they're now on equal footing heading to a game 3 to decide their match. And a bold block here for Duke. He's put all of his creatures in front of the Rock Smaulers, which means that the Maulers is going to kill a War Oracle and a Guiltleaf Winnower. Wow, Eric's got to be happy with that trade.
Yeah, I mean, it's still just a 2-for-2 from Reid's perspective. And now that the Sigil looks much worse on Froehlich's side of the table. So I don't hate that play. Also, if he's able to top deck a land, then he's in a great spot to make a really nice play with Oromancer here. So we'll have to see how things work out.
Well, it looks like he did draw that land. So you're saying he can go Oromancer, get back Weight of the Underworld, play Weight of the Underworld?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm not hating that.
Seems like pretty nice play. Gets you a 2/2. Forces Ifro to chump block with that Dwynen. Suddenly that Sigil looks miserably bad on his side of the table. And that Sigil looked really impressive before, but right now, not so much.
Kind of what it does. When you're ahead or at parity, it's good. When you're behind, it's bad. And when we came in, they were roughly at parity. Ifro was a bit ahead, and thanks to the Sigil, he was kind of smashing. I remember when we first came in, it was a screeching Scob. He was
Ooh.
Kithian's Irregulars has now shown up.
And that's a nice one.
May as well get the Oromancer out of your hand, too. What a huge turn for Reid Duke. Jeez.
Yeah. This could really cause some big issues. Kithian's Irregulars.
Court causes big issues.
Yeah.
You're not kidding, Jake.
Yeah.
That card
Taps
is
down the
a
best
wrecking
guy.
crew.
That's a card that's going to make the equipment a lot worse. Also, just a 4-power creature for 4, casually. All right, Dwynen coming in here with the sigil. So, 4/5, going to gain Eric Froehlich a life before he has an opportunity to make his blocks. And one thing we noticed, though, is Reid, when he made that block with all of his creatures, he's trading very aggressively, and that's what you want to do when you're playing against a card like Sigil. And this is a format that lends itself to trading aggressively. So when you're playing a card like Sigil, you really have to, work outside of the box and not fall into those types of patterns. So,
Angel's Tomb's the only play here for Eric. Passes the turn back. It doesn't look good here. As he can't block. Not realistically.
bounding creases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Earlier when we were looking at
Harbinger
that
of the
card.
Tides. I mean, there's a few cards.
Yeah.
But
Nothing outside of an uncommon and a rare, really.
yeah. All right, there's Weight of the Underworld on Dwynen.
Now, I really love this play from Reid, waiting for Eric Froehlich to attack with something to put the Weight of the Underworld on it. That's going to allow him 2 different turns, whereas Blood Curse Knight is turned on, if you will.
Mm-hmm. So it's a 4/3 with lifelink.
So pops Eric down to 9 here, gains 4 life himself, goes right back up to 20. So let's take a look at Eric Froehlich's list. Let's see what kind of cards he has that might be able to get him out of this situation.
All right, well, it looks like Eric's seen enough here.
Yeah, and from the looks of it, he
Kithian's
doesn't
Irregulars
really have
taps
much.
down the team and clears the way for lethal here. So Reid Duke forcing a game 3. Can Owen win his game against Ben and force 3 game 3s?
Whew, it looks like he may win this game with a hanger back walker
Oh,
at
my
3.
hanger back. Yeah, I mean, this thing's ready to go. 3 already. We see Kithian on the battlefield again for Ben Stark. Got a pair of flyers here that look like they're ready to rumble. No interest in blocking for Stark. He's way ahead on life total.
Yeah, there we see one of the most interesting interactions in Magic Origins Limited. The Orchid Spirit versus Scrapskin Drake. Scrapskin Drake unable to block Orchid Spirit.
It can't?
No.
Because it's technically not a flyer?
Technically not a flyer.
Jeez. But Watercourser can.
Oh, it can't?
Watercourser can't, I mean.
Because it doesn't have flying. Isn't that
I don't
weird?
get it.
It's confusing.
Ban Orchard Spirit.
It's just too good.
Meanwhile, Hangerback Walker picks up another counter and keeps ticking upwards here. Ben Stark has life to give him. I mean, that just brought him back down to 20, the Orchard Spirit. So that thing's got a lot of work to go.
So how good is Hangerback Walker, right?
Oh, that card's insane.
I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of that card.
Yeah, I mean, it's already broken out in
Foreseeable
standard,
future.
and in limited, it's even better. I mean, the card's just ridiculous. Sometimes we see decks built around it that have sacrifice outlets as well to kind of do it when they want to do it, but you don't really need that. It just gets big enough to just start, look, here, attack. Don't care. Do not care. The only time you really want it is like Suppression Bonds Claustrophobia. That's a little annoying.
Yeah. That's when the Shrapnel Blast really
Oh,
feels nice, you know? But Owen has a Caustic Caterpillar, which combines pretty well with that Hangerback Walker if he needs it to.
Is this like a combo? Caterpillar and Hangerback Walker on your side? This is interesting.
know.
Ben's kind of working through some attacks here, trying to figure out what the best line is.
You know what card Huey Jensen is playing alongside his
What's
Caterpillar? Demonic Pact.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's also got a Conclave Naturalist to help take care of it.
It's such a powerful effect.
I'm scared of that card. checklist of death. Owen's double checking Gideon again.
Let me see. It does all that stuff. It only costs 1 mana.
And it looks like Ben is going to get Kythian online here. He's going to give Kythian Indestructible in response. Turtenwald is going to give his Imp Death Touch. And that does, in fact, flip Kythian into Gideon. So now what's the play?
I think you force the... You probably just force the... Do you force the Caterpillar to attack, and then it just ends up targeting the Hangerback Walker, or what do you do here?
Oh, that's interesting. That's not a bad play. I mean, it might just be what Owen wants to do anyway, but you do force the issue now.
And make him do it when you want him to do it. I mean, but it could also be that Ben does not want him to do it.
Uh-oh. Wait, what is this here? Play a land. He's got a Screeching Scout. Okay. Ooh, Mills Knightly Valor and a land. So this is interesting. It must attack, but does he want to just pop the Hangerback Walker now? Or he can pump it one more time and then pop it on his turn.
I mean, the major issue with popping it now is that then you can actually kill the Gideon. Which is, you know,
good.
Definitely in Owen's interest here. I mean, he wants to attack with 3 of those Thopters and the 1 Orchard Spirit, thus killing the Gideon. Then he's still going to have a blocker on defense to trade with that Scab. Scab.
He is going to 1, though. Or in that area, depending on blocks. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Freakus Disciple's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it helps restabilize. He still had 5 mana to work with him.
Yeah, that's huge. That's holding back the Cleric for sure, and maybe the Scab, and maybe even the Water Courser, depending on how Ben wants to approach this. So, Disciple's doing work here.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Owen just trade with this Water Courser.
Oh, I got an update.
If the Water Courser attacks.
I got an update for you here, Jake. Luis Scott-Vargas defeats Huey Jensen on the middle table to take the first match of our round here. So we are 1 game away from either Ben Stark, that's what we're watching right now, or Eric Froehlich playing against Reid Duke, and the victory will go to that side of the table.
And it's looking pretty good here.
The wall. Yeah, this is
Ben.
Not good. Ben now has Scab Goliath.
And despite facing down against that Hangerback Walker, still. I mean, the Hangerback Walker, though, it didn't do what it usually does this game. Likely because Ben had a Planeswalker to force an issue.
Yeah. Well, Owen's going to attack anyway. And he's going to play a Vastwood Gorger and pass the turn back to Ben Stark, who's looking to close out the game here. Find a way to get victory in his hands. And he would be putting his team into the finals with that. Now, in the meantime, Eric Froehlich is 2 seats away from Ben doing the exact same thing in his Game 3 against Reid Duke. Ben has nothing. He plays the land and passes. Has Owen turned the corner here?
Yeah, I mean, now it looks pretty tight that, you know, the Freakus Disciple does trade with the Goliath. The Drake is held off by these Thopters. The Thopters are held off by the Drake. The Water Courser is held off by the Vastwood Gorger. This is just a really interesting game at this point. This is really anybody's ball game. Looks like Owen has some exciting cards in his hand there. I see a Revenant.
Okay. There's a lot of cards in his graveyard.
Yeah, I was watching Owen play some games with his deck before the match actually started, and he was able to play a Revenant as a 7/7 on curve.
Curve?
Turn 5. Thanks to Gather the Pack and Return Centaur working in conjunction with one another.
Yeah, that is a combo.
The Wombo.
So here comes Orchard Spirit. Scrapskin Drake watches it as it goes by. And an Undercity Troll here for Owen Turtenwald. Not necessarily what he wanted, but not terrible. Ben Stark, again, trying to find a way to get these last 7 points of damage in and put his team in the finals. Stratus Walk on the Scob is a start. Is it resolved? Yes. Draws a card.
It's a big boy.
Looks like he's going to attack with the 2-1 here. Attacks with the 2-1 and the Drake. It's for 4.
No, I believe that's a Scab Goliath, actually.
Oh, he put it on the Goliath.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I got it mixed
So
up with the Screeching Scob. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
big
well,
Scob.
how about that? That's a little different. So now he's
Yeah.
attacking for lethal as opposed to 4.
Yeah, so I mean,
Thank you, Jake.
yeah, no problem.
I was like, all right, well, let's just peck away here.
I was like, this is getting pretty big.
Yeah, that thing's massive now. So he's trying to put him on basically a 2-turn clock here, because even with chump blocks, he's going to be dead soon.
I mean, now, can he even? He's going to triple block the Drake and then block the Goliath, and then he just goes to 2.
And then dies next turn.
Yeah,
if
I mean,
nothing changes.
Because no matter how many Thopters you have, normally those things chump block like champs in the air because there's not much flying and trample on the same card in this set. But when you Stratus Walk a Scob Goliath,
You get your Flample on?
you get your Flample on.
Oh, it's dirty.
You know who else is Flample?
Who?
A Tarka.
Yeah. I think I'd rather have that one.
I would rather have that one too.
But this one works just fine, I think, for Ben Stark's purposes here. As he's looking actually to bring Owen down to 1 here. And he does just that. So this could be 1 turn away. Oh. Look at our graphic.
Oh,
It looks like Eric Froehlich has won the match for them already, and I think Ben was going to win the match as well.
Yeah. So there it is. Each of these matches went to 3 games. Pretty exciting stuff. I mean, hopefully we get to just watch these guys continue playing. I know that.
I'd like that.
Yeah, I would love it if they just
I think
kept
our
going.
other table's going, but that is it for this round from an official coverage perspective. The Ben Stark, Luis Scott-Vargas, Eric Froehlich train keeps rolling along. Huge flying tramplers over here. Luis wins his match. Eric wins his match. I'm just kind of curious to see now if they can sweep them.
So one thing I really like here that Owen's doing is Owen's making this attack, and it seems like it's a desperation attack, but in reality, he wants Ben to trade creatures with him because that'll make the Revenant in his hand big enough that he could actually block the Goliath and get off the table.
It needs to be huge.
Yeah, it needs to be a big boy. And I mean, it's probably also blocking with those Thopters. Like, it's even as a very large man, it's not going to do it on its own.
Hydro Lash from Ben Stark.
Yeah.
Which is going to really put a wrecking on the trades that were scheduled to happen here, as both of the smaller creatures are going to become 0 power. Ben's going to only take 3. Hydro Lash blowout. Wow.
That Hydro Lash was pretty good there.
Meanwhile, the Scob Goliath is still sitting there hovering around in the air, ready to rumble. And there's that Revenant. So what is it at? Oh, but Ben just shows him the heavy infantry, and that's it.
Yeah, bring in the heavies and
the full sweep is complete, and a lot of handshakes are going around. You can see the sportsmanlike activities down here in the feature match area, but that's going to do it for our first semifinal match here.
The Peach Garden Oath defeated.
Peach Garden Oath falls here to Ben Stark, Luis Scott-Vargas, and Eric Froehlich.